Colbert?
Yes.
Mrs. Riley?
Yes.
Judge Wood?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Now we approve the claims listed dated October 3rd, 2016 against the general, road, and jail funds.
It's not our favorite, that's my eyes.
I'm assuming that the Stanley Funeral Home is the topper.
Yeah, that was, people had to be paid, we were responsible for paying for, people indigent. Tell you the truth, Bobby, I thought this was a little higher than usual, I was gonna double check.
But they know what one do or.
Right, more than one it might be.
Point out to the magistrates, on your general fund, you have on page 2, Petitioner and Associates LLP, it's about the fifth or sixth one up from the bottom, $3,585. That's the final payment on the audit that we had to have done. We have sent a request to the state auditor's office to do the audit in-house this year because the auditing firm that they sent to us did not produce the document in a timely manner, and basically sent us a letter and said, here's the audit, now publish it, which is clearly the responsibility of the auditor. So we held their payment until they published the audit in accordance with state statute. So that's why showing as a separate invoice.
Yeah, we were not happy at all.
I make a motion that we approve the claims for the general, road, and jail fund as presented.
I will second.
Okay, call the roll, Scott.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mrs. Colbert?
Yes.
Mrs. Riley?
Yes.
Judge Wood?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay, now we need to get approval of a request of the county treasurer to void 2 checks, and I'll state them both in this motion. General fund check 23802 payable to Bonnie Courtney in the amount of $25 as a check that was issued more than 9 days ago and has not been processed, and road check number 124846 payable to Lynn Regular Blacktop, the amount of $6,491.61, as a check was prepared for amount that included a partial payment that had been made on a previous billing, and therefore this check was more than was unnecessary. The vendor has returned the check.
And I assume a new check issued.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we void check number 23802 payable to Bonnie Courtney, and check number 124846 to Lee Regular Blacktop.
I second.
Okay, call the roll, Scott.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mrs. Colbert?
Yes.
Mrs. Riley?
Yes.
Judge Wood?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Now I'm going to have Scott read first orders of 10-262016697. Scott, if you'll read it, please, sir.
Ordinance of the fiscal court of the county of Grant, Kentucky, adopting the recommendation and findings of the planning commission, Grant County Planning and Zoning Commission, for a request of David and Tess Knobloch for a zoning map amendment. Such zoning map amendment being a zone change from agricultural 1A1 to residential 1A R1A on a 2-acre site located on the southwest side of Civil Road, approximately 0.275 miles north of Arnold's Creek Road, Grant County, Kentucky, and providing the recommendation be forwarded to the fiscal court, Williamstown, Kentucky.
So there's no action requested, so y'all can kind of keep that in the back of your head. Then we have another first reading of 10-2016-698. Scott, please read that.
An ordinance of the fiscal court of the county of Grant, Kentucky, adopting the recommendation and findings of the Grant County Planning and Zoning Commission for a request of James and Billy Joe Hennage for a zoning map amendment, such zoning map amendment being a zone change from agricultural 1A1 to residential 1A R1A on a 3.3312 acre site located on the east side of Dry Ridge Mount Zion Road and 9/10 mile north of Kentucky Route 22's Taft Highway, Grant County, Kentucky.
Okay, that does that. Keep that in mind, Masters, for next time. And right now, we'll go to new business. And of course, it's the main topic of this meeting. And we've all agreed in principle and theory on the policy procedure manual and so forth. And right now, I'm going to let Scott read, and we'll have some discussion on it.
Resolution 1614, a resolution of the Grant County Fiscal Court directing the Judge Executive Stephen Wood to communicate with the Kentucky Department of Corrections to advise the fiscal court has approved the policies and procedures in principle and theory in compliance with Kentucky administrative regulations and will proceed with codification of the policies and procedures to ensure proper cross-reference of said documents. Whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court is charged with reviewing and approving policies and procedures manuals for the operation of the Grant County Detention Center in accordance with the provisions of the Kentucky administrative regulations, and whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court has consulted with the jailer and reviewed policies and procedures manual, and whereas the Grant County Fiscal Court and Grant County jailer agree in principle and theory to the terms outlined in the attached policies and procedures manual. Now therefore be it resolved, the Grant County Fiscal Court does hereby authorize and direct Judge Executive Stephen Wood to notify the Kentucky Department of Corrections that the Fiscal Court has approved the attached policies and procedures for the operation of the Grant County Detention Center pursuant to Kentucky administrative regulations, and the fiscal court and jailer are in concurrence with the terms contained therein. Be it further resolved, the fiscal court and jailer have mutually agreed to have the policies and procedures redrafted for the sole purpose of ensuring cross-referencing and compliance with Kentucky administrative regulations. And be it further resolved, the organizational chart for the Grant County Detention Center shall provide for a command staff limited to 1 chief deputy and 2 captains, complemented by 36 additional full-time and 4 part-time subordinate personnel as provided for in the appropriation, in the approval of the appropriation of the 2016-17 budget to be dispersed throughout the facility at the discretion of the jailer, and all job descriptions of the detention center shall, for ease of administration, be set aside from the policies and procedures manual and adopt as a separate component part referenced therein.
Okay, Masters, any questions?
I did have 2 comments, questions also for the 36 positions, and then of course the 2 captains that's slated, that's 38. But and then it also addition to 2 staff, or did the 38 include the 2 staff?
Including the staff.
So to that point, it is 38, not 40.
That's correct.
We had an earlier discussion and we wanted to clarify. Okay. And then I appreciate the KRA regulations for the document, to be approved as is the format that's been presented. But if we could say like by 30 days or 60 days for when the new KRA version would be tied up, so that we hold ourselves accountable to a certain date for when the new one would come. And I mean, what do you think is realistic to have it retyped up? 30 days or 60 days or?
I think 45 days. Go right in the middle, say 45 days.
So I was thinking like probably be it whether resolved like somewhere around there by such date, whatever 45 days
reference
is.
Within 45 days, right after the word administrative regulations and the second resolve.
That works for me. And I also like taking out the job descriptions and keeping that separate. And then the jailer had told me before the meeting he has already made, and which I haven't had a chance to look at just yet, but I have confidence that he has done such, that he had already made the changes that we discussed on Friday, and that the inmate handbook does not have to be a part of the policy and procedures according to the Jailers Association and some other folks that he talked with. So I think that also helps
the
handbook.
inmate's handbook within, you know, I don't know if it says that it needs to be in there, but it does make a statement regarding the inmate's handbook.
I think it has to be, it's like the personnel policy, you know, I think it has to be referenced in the PNP. I think it has to, the county has to have one,
Yes.
but I don't think it has to be actually voted on as part of it. I think it's
No.
referenced in it, just like the jailer's personnel policy, but it doesn't have to be incorporated by it.
Right, mandated that one be done and,
Yes, ma'am.
right.
And so that part, so just so I'm clear, when we go and submit this tomorrow, it would not contain the inmate handbook.
That's correct.
But
Absolutely.
yet, you would still have one, there, in place.
Now, let me ask the court a question, if I may ask a question. At the discussion on Friday, there was discussion as to whether the fiscal court was going to retain jurisdiction of the inmate handbook. What is your position on that issue before we send it to Frankfurt, or is that referenced in the policies and procedures as something you will have to review?
I think I'd have to read the KRA to see what,
But I'm asking, how is it in that copy, since we don't have a copy of that document in front of us?
For the handbook, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
checking out the table of contents.
probably a later.
This is where they're faster than I can see.
Got the,
That's right. This is a second document from this meeting, and shall be available to Grant County Jail.
hit by all means should be adopted into the policies and procedures in some manner.
This is how it reads, inmate rules and regulations. The Grant County Jail has written statements of inmates' rights entitled Grant County Jail Inmate Rules and Regulations. This is a separate document from this manual and shall be available to all inmates. These Grant County Jail Inmate Rules and Regulations shall address the following inmate rights. And it goes on. So I'm thinking,
Is that page 86, Jacqueline?
44,
86.
let me go to that page then, because that's on here too. Do you have an electronic copy over there?
No,
You just remember it off the top of your head?
I'm just that smart, Jacqueline.
Let's see. You mean, okay. Introduction to rules and regulations of this facility. While you are an inmate in the Grant County Jail, you will have certain rights and privileges. There are also certain rules and regulations that you will be expected to adhere to for the purpose of safety, security, control, order, and discipline. The following is a summary above mentioned. This booklet is given to you to help you better understand what your rights are and what the rights and regulations of this facility are. The staff here will do their best to see none of your rights are violated and that your privileges are given to you. You will in turn be expected to adhere to all rules and regulations, and you should understand that disciplinary action for violation of the rules and regulations as set in this booklet will be carried out. This document is considered as jail property. You must be asked to produce this document during the inspection. You may be asked to produce this document during the inspection of your cell area. If this document is destroyed, it may result in loss of privileges. Chris Hinkin, jailer. And then it goes on to be,
Is that, goes on to be the document?
yeah, like the exact handbook.
Is that,
Well, I didn't hear you. What'd you say, Jack?
So, and then Shauna's question was everything to Mr. Chipman's point, as he pointed out, it's page 88. In your
86.
86 to 107, I'll get it right. That's the actual handbook that you have given to each of the inmates.
Yes.
So that's actually part of the policies and procedures manual you've presented to the court for approval.
Yes. But earlier you had said that you didn't want to, you
Right.
didn't feel that it needed to be.
Right, we,
And recall the discussion was, the reason why we had the discussion was, at the caveat that it could change at the discretion of the jailer.
Right.
And I thought, oh my gosh, if that's the case and we have to approve it, should the court, be notified?
there's too much changing that can go on in that, so we wasn't even gonna put that in there. And that, you know, it can be changed by me, cause it's just, it don't have to be approved by you guys, but if it's in there, we have to bring it up there for approval every time we make a change. That's,
I guess my question would be, if this court is liable for decisions made, why wouldn't they have the authority to review and approve or disapprove changes?
We are liable, that's true.
I mean, the judge executive can do a lot of things by executive order when the court's not in session, but he has to bring it back to court for concurrence at next regular meeting. So I guess the question would be, why wouldn't that policy and procedures, or that inmate handbook be something the fiscal court would sign off on, since they're the ones ultimately liable?
I'm going out of order a little bit. David?
I would just like to bring up that the handbook is mentioned in the procedure. So the handbook should be issued a number, a reference number, so it's referenced in that, and then anytime a change is made to that document, it should be noted what the changes are, and it should be signed off by everybody. I mean, that's procedures.
Well, and that's why we're saying if it's a part of this book, then it should need to come for a vote if a change is recommended by the jailer. And then the jailer.
I think what we're getting to is that pages 86, 107
Yep.
should not be in the policies and procedures. Page
Page
86 should say there's a policy, there's an inmate handbook that's referenced herein. The handbook should then be adopted as a separate document. If the jailer wants to make changes to that, he should have the authority to make those changes, put the court on notice at the next regular meeting, just like the judge does with executive orders, to approve or reject. If the fiscal court says, no, we don't want that, then he has to go back to the previous policy. If the court agrees, then the new policy stands. And his policy would stand between the time he enacts it and the time the fiscal court votes on it. But it wouldn't go to the Department of Corrections. You wouldn't have to file an amended plan with Department of Corrections every time. That would be an internal working document of the county. So I'm saying that
So
the handbook
again,
would be
if we-
cut to 86 pages instead of 107 for the policy and procedure.
And again, just as I brought this up, we had agreed that, oh, we want to make sure there's the right language, and then Chris brought up, well, after further review and discussion, the folks that he had spoke to indicated that it didn't have to be included. So I guess we just need to make a decision.
I think it's not a have to, I think it's what's the policy, what's the determination of the fiscal court.
Right,
As the legislative body, that's a decision you will have to make.
where are you all at on that? Because I think that's the only
Well,
other
you know,
piece here.
I'm somewhat offended that you got hold of a copy of that, and I haven't even been able
He
to
just brought this up
review
here.
it. But I'm just saying, I mean, if he's gonna bring any copies up here, he should bring 3. I can't, if I can't, I'm not gonna vote on nothing I've not read. And, you know, it's just.
well, let's recant the whole thing. Let's do it another day. I think that, since we don't have everything together, that's not satisfactory to you guys. Some things have been said that's not really satisfactory to me either, so let's go back to the drawing board again.
What,
I don't think we need to necessarily go back to drawing board. I think we need.
I do. I think we need to.
what issues do you have with the way that's written?
Well, the first thing that I heard, Scott coming out with the personnel that's listed over there as me being a jailer and the chief and 2 captains. They have left out the major's position. That's in litigation. So let's just recant the whole thing.
I make a motion that we adopt the policy and procedures manual for the Grant County Detention Center as read.
Well, I've recanted it, so I'm not submitting that. and it has to be submitted by me.
I'll second it.
Call the roll.
Call the roll, Scott.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Can we do it clarity though, are we gonna keep the handbook in?
Ma'am? Motion was to approve it as presented.
Then it's in,
Yes.
with the language that it comes back, that the court has to be able to approve it.
And if there's any changes, we've got to review it and adopt.
Right. Okay, Scott, call the roll.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Mrs. Coldiron?
Yes,
Mrs. Riley?
Yes,
Judge Wood?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay, now we're ready for citizens' address. If you want to come up and address the court. Just, of course, we know you state your name and just the purpose of you being up there, sir.
Howard Chipman, I don't think this works, but you can hear me. I have a question. I heard you guys say that you're not gonna worry about mowing anymore this year, but I got a call from Miss Edna Cummins Friday night. Her place has only been mowed one time.
Who's that?
Miss Edna Cummins from the Taylor House. Who's gonna do all your snow removal this year? Are you gonna hire people to do that too, or are you gonna have one of the deputies that are supposed to be working the floor doing that? You don't have his budget to be out doing that stuff. So for us to do that, you're gonna make the jail short.
Well, I don't know how it's gonna go with the jail after we get it going. But
Well, if he doesn't have the personnel to send us out, you guys are gonna have to pay for it. You can't leave the jail
we're
short.
gonna take care of this, sir, okay?
Chipman, what properties did you push snow on for?
The Justice Center, the courthouse, the jail,
And was that with vehicles that have blades on them, or what?
tractor, a gator.
So I'm thinking out loud, so the tractor from the jail would come all the way up here?
If it needed to, either that or the gator would come up. And then we had 4 people that would come out and show the sidewalks
So the Justice Center, the courthouse,
and the jail.
I was frankly gonna sublet it out. We did work out something at the jail, you know, as we open up.
But you're just costing the county more money, Steve. If you're subletting out to other people,
Well, it's gotta be done. I mean,
what is it cheaper to sublet it out or cheaper to add a few extra people to the jail's roster and let them go out and work?
well, Scott testified last week that
The mowing for the 1 month that we, or 6 weeks that we were mowing was actually within $5 of what we're paying in salary and benefits.
That's inaccurate, because you only mowed Tavern House once. How many other properties only got
Sir,
mowed
the
once?
question, excuse me, but the question was asked of me to compare the cost of what we had spent on private mowing versus what we would have spent in the same time period in salaries at the detention center. And I did that, it was within $5. Now, you can debate whether they did the same amount of mowing, but the mowing that was contracted for, the allegation had been made, we had spent a whole lot more money. That was not the case.
we did do the tavern in that.
Yes.
We did one time.
I know.
In 6 weeks. We would have mowed it 6 times in 6 weeks. We'd mowed each place 6 times. So we mowed one. we
You
mowed
mean
all
after
the
this
places
dry
one
spell,
week.
you would have done that?
I'm sorry?
Even after this dry spell, it's been real
If they
dry?
needed it, yeah. Apparently, it's not too dry because Tavern House is 4 feet right now. They were asking us to come out and do it. Because she said she couldn't get you to answer her on the phone after you two had a falling out. For the job that was done the last time you sent somebody. It was so bad. So I'm just curious, because you're gonna cost more if you're sending people out, especially in summertime. The guys that sit in interstate get $70 an hour just to sit there.
Okay, thanks, buddy, I appreciate it. Come on up.
Yeah.
Mr. Kennard, come on up. Just state your name, we know you, but your purpose.
My name's Bill Canard. I live on Baton Rouge Road. And if I don't know where that is, they have a fairgrounds there. And, that's about Williamstown came down the road for the last 2 weeks. Now, Baton Rouge Road is separated. Half of it belongs to Williamstown, and the other part belongs to the county.
That's correct.
Okay? Williamstown workers came down and they cut down a lot of trees. They should have been done a long time ago, but they really done a good job. Now, right after they were done, the guy came along in a tractor and a side cutter, and he mowed all the side roads back and forward in the county. Now, it's always been, when it snows, Williamstown comes down to their area and they stop. And Grant County takes over and does their part. That's the way it works. And they do a good job. We haven't had any wrecks lately, but a lot more traffic on Baton Rouge Road than you think. I don't know where everybody's going. I think they take the shortcut over to 22 and go to Owensville or whatever they do. Oh, one other thing, something that's on the sideline that don't mean anything. Owen County voted dry again. You know that would never happen in Williamstown, don't you? Grant County.
I think it lost by 16 votes.
Yeah,
Be wet.
I'm very votes.
Yeah, yes, sir.
You're right, but they're dry again. And I thought Pendleton County was dry, but man cut me down. He says, no, Pendleton County's been wet for a long time, but it's in certain areas in the towns, I think.
Right.
Found it. So whatever that's worth to you.
Okay.
But I'm just here as an observer, and I think you three over there are doing the best you can. Sat in several years ago, many times. Mr. Link, I always thought about at the end of the year a balanced budget. I don't know where he missed up on the jail. Somebody missed up. I want to know, did we use all the paint that we bought?
I'd have to ask Chris. Chris, we're still buying paint currently. Have we used all the paint?
Well, we used up what we had first go around, we've got more.
Okay. Yeah, he's been, and frankly, doing a good job of painting over there.
That's all I want to
Looks
know.
very nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Carr. Thank you. Okay. Well, that concludes the meeting, and actually, I did want to, and I kind of jumped the gun. I attended the Veterans Vietnam Wall, and it was very moving and very touching, and I really enjoyed it. I got to say a little something, which was an honor. And I hope somebody or everybody or anybody went to go see it. It was quite a deal. And other than that, Masters, if you don't have anything else, I might ask for adjournment.
Judge, I just wanted to let folks know that the last community listening session for the trails, countywide trails, is Thursday at the Williamstown High School cafeteria.
That's Wednesday night, isn't it?
No, Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday at 7.
Yeah, you might, that's a very interesting concept, y'all. We can, of course, I don't know about the money part, Jack, but it's really
But they
not.
actually said that it could take, several years, 10, 20 years for it to be developed, but they, the concept with getting the community buy-in and their point of view, they said that having the design laid out is the first biggest challenge, and that financially that's not the #1 challenge.
Right.
According to the experts in this arena. So, because they said there's a lot that could be done, very little funding necessary.
And where Scott County's looking at it, we're looking at it, and I tell you, of course, Fayette County's got a lot of money, but it is a wonderful trail. I've seen it, been on it, it's great. I'd love to have something like that here.
Well, and it not only complements bicyclists, but walkers, runners, and then the new portion that they have, thankfully listened to feedback in the community on the horseback, the horse riding club, potentially in the south end of the county, there may be the availability to extend some of those trails for the horseback as well.
Okay, thanks for bringing it up, Jacqueline. It's a world-worth project you ought to go attend. we all need to do more exercising, myself included. So, okay, anybody else got anything to say, magistrates?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Hey, I started to bring your name up. Yeah, I remember you and Link getting into it about a new, police car, 2 of them, wasn't it? As soon as he gets in, you get it, don't you? That wasn't all.
Yeah, we all got it.
I wanted to ask you, are you new? You're not new? Okay. You're with, is that your? I'm his wife. Yours? Okay. And, is he new at it?
No, he's been in it.
Has he? Okay. What happened to the young lady that used to do it? Filming.
Oh, I know.
Okay, she quit, I guess. Maybe she got a better job. Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Lisa Mentor. I'm the chief deputy at the jail.
Are you? How you doing?
I've been there since 1989.
Okay, all right. Now, let me ask you this, because this is very important. Are you the one raising the heck about more money?
Am I the one raising the heck about
Well, more than one of these.
No.
Okay. I understand it's 2 boys and 2 girls.
Yeah, I'm not in that.
Okay. You know, next time you see him, tell him you met somebody that worked 14 years for minimum wage.
Yeah. Well, I started at minimum wage.
That was 3 1/4, wasn't it?
Well, I started for 5 something.
Well, that wasn't minimum wage.
No, it was the year I did it.
No, it was 3 1/4, and double that, 6 1/2 or something like that.
I started for $5 and something an hour down here.
And you're telling me that was
And
minimum
I'm
wage?
saying, until I got chief deputy, somebody could have worked 3rd shift at a factory and made more than me.
Yeah, oh, I know that.
So,
It's not right.
no, it's not, because not everybody can work with inmates.
Okay. Oh, I know that. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. How many women you got?
Well, we don't have that many now. We've got like 118 total
Did
since
you get
they
rid of
pulled some out.
a lot of them?
Well, the state pulled them out.
Well, okay.
Since they've been closed.
Here's the thing I'm driving at. With the bank or with the jail gonna close, you started getting rid of people. You know what I mean?
Well, the state was getting rid of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you all didn't have nothing to do with it, the state did it.
Yeah, when they said they were closing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah. Well, it was nice meeting
How many
you.
years you been?
I have been there since 1989.
That's great.
So it's